And we're back with our final segment of the Screen Team, and we're being joined by Miss Laura Butler. Laura, thank you for joining us. How are you, man?
Hey, I'm fantastic.
What, you don't like it when I say man? You gave me like the dirtiest look, like, oh, man, what's this guy's deal?
That's okay.
Laura, you are here on the final segment of the show this evening. We're doing Westerns. We've done Silverado. We've done Bone Tomahawk. And now we're kind of getting into a fantastic film.
We agree.
A fantastic film called The Revenant. Yes. And this stars DiCaprio, who you love, by the way. You're a huge fan.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's talk about this film. What were your guys' initial thoughts? Jamie, what did you think about it after seeing it?
After seeing it, man, I wanted to see it again.
Yeah, same here.
That's saying something because it's almost 3 hours long.
Yeah, it's a pretty long film, but I mean, I kind of read up a little bit about it, the process that it entailed, to make the film using natural light, and because I really like Birdman, the previous film by the director, and so I thought, this should be interesting, and hearing about how long it took and all that kind of stuff. But and the way I first described it to a friend of mine online, I was like, this was the most like brutal, jarring, but beautiful movie I'd ever seen, or at least in a long, long time.
Yeah.
And in a way, you could almost compare it to the newest Mad Max movie, which was also just amazing to look at.
Mm-hmm.
But it was kind of brutal, and when you look at the story itself, there's not a lot to it. Like, hey, we're out here trapping, and then the Indians come, and we got to run, and then the bear. It's like so much. It seems like very simple plot points, but they just the way they tie it all together and then turn it into something even bigger is really amazing.
Laura, are you with that?
Yeah, a lot of it. What he said, the brutality of the movie, like, it was incredible. I when I went to watch it, I went spur of the moment on my own and ended up sitting with some of my friends of mine's parents, and her mother was just, oh, that poor man, bless his heart, and she's like, this is a true story. And I said, you got to factor in Hollywood. Yeah. But it was very graphic. I mean, not something you want to take the little kids to watch. Absolutely not. But there, like Jamie said, I agree with that. There was just, it's like nature is brutal. I mean, it's survival of the fittest.
Yeah.
And it just it's one of those movies where the human spirit conquers all in this movie. Basically, like, he's so angry at what happens to him, what happens to his family, that he's determined that no matter, literally, come hell or high water,
he's
going to get his revenge. And I think that I've heard a lot of people, especially guys, say, yeah, well, he would have been dead after this or that or whatever. And, I think it just goes to show, I don't know how much of it was true and how much of it wasn't. But I've seen, you've heard stories of women whose kids get trapped under cars and they lift the car off the child.
Yeah.
Because I think that you get this supernatural strength when something you care about has been harmed, or something you're so passionate about, then you want to go after that. And I think that maybe that's a part of this movie. It's because DiCaprio, he totally captured the brilliance of this man. Like, he was a savage. He was literally, brutal. He was amazing. It was my favorite film with him in it.
There was two scenes in this film that I thought were probably some of the best scenes I've ever seen in film history. The first one is the kind of introductory scene that we see with DiCaprio and the rest of the traders and stuff like that, and they're being attacked by the Indians, and just the way that it was shot, it almost felt like a one single shot. But there's so many different elements going on. There's side characters fighting, and there's guns going off here and arrows going off here, and
then somebody on a horse comes across, and
it's all just, it was beautifully done.
And that's part of this director's, I think that's part of his, I don't know what you would call it, vision, because he did the same kind of thing in Birdman, where he used all these seemingly long continuous shots, and I think some of that was just the way it was edited together, but he really thinks about what he wants it to look like overall.
Yeah. Do you guys remember that there was one other scene which I thought was just extraordinary? DiCaprio's by himself. He had fallen asleep, and he gets awakened by what are they called again? The
Kree.
The Kree. And he freaks out. I think he gets his gun. He shoots a couple of them, and then he just
jumps on his horse.
And that seemed like one, continuous shot. And I don't know, I had no idea what they put the camera at, but the camera obviously was, cameraman holding it, following him on, and all of a sudden the camera's following him on the horse. So I don't know how they got the camera from the ground point to the elevated point with DiCaprio on the horse. It was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Just phenomenal.
And that's all part of the director of photography working with the director and just the way that they edit that all together. So
bear scene, guys. What do we think about the bear scene?
Well, when you watch the trailer for it, if you haven't seen the movie, like that, you think that's going to be the climax of the movie.
Yeah.
But then you get in there and you actually see it, and you're like, that's actually like the pre-show, basically. Like, this is what happens before the movie happens.
And it almost sets up the rest of the story.
Absolutely.
In a way, because things evolve out of that bear attack that cause him to seek revenge, and because he takes care of the bear.
Well, I mean,
sorry, but it's okay. But other stuff, arises from that situation because they are having to carry him through this wilderness, and so it's just without giving too much away.
Well, I love DiCaprio, but Tom Hardy deserves an Oscar for this movie. He was incredible. Like, I didn't even recognize him to begin with.
Yeah.
And that's something to be said for the costumes and the makeup and all that for this movie as well.
And his
because
accent.
I love the way he talked.
When he was just... I mean, he is one hot man. But, man, when you see him in this movie, you're like... Whoa, he's just so skanky, and he's brutal. He is the definition of a savage in this movie.
Yeah.
Like, Indians aside, the Indians, at least they were looking out for their family. It was about honor for them. For him, it was only about greed.
Yeah,
it was
about him.
Yes, everything was just, he didn't care what anybody else did or wanted. And he lays the blame at the feet of this poor kid that volunteered to help him with Glass. Yeah, I can't think of his name. But he's evil. He literally plays he's the devil in this movie. He's terrible. But the acting, I was like, oh, every time I see him now, that's the only character I'm going to remember. He did an excellent job in that movie.
Now, this is based on a true story, but I think Hollywood took a lot of liberties with the story and kind of because I believe, and I'm not 100% sure either, so don't take my word for it, but I believe that Glass was a real man, but I don't think he had a son. And there was another thing that I'll mention to you guys off mic, but I don't want to give it away to our audience. But there was another key element to the story that was different in real life than it was in the actual movie. So DiCaprio, does he win the Oscar, and does this win the Best Picture?
I haven't seen all the movies, but it'll be definitely in the running. It would have to be. I mean, he won a Golden Globe for it, and when you watched his speech, it was really he's the kind of actor that he gives a lot of credit to the background and the history and the actual people that. Not just the directors and everyone. He was talking about the Cree Nation and all the different Indians, and he said in an interview that they took a lot of what the scenes and stuff like that from traders' journals and the lore of the Indian tribes of that area. So they actually worked with the natives of that area to get to bring the movie together to be like what it was. So I thought that was pretty interesting.
Is this one of the best pictures you've seen this year?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Even maybe better than Star Wars.
Get out of here. Get out of my studio.
I knew that would get him. Star Wars came out last year. So, this did too.
Well, I haven't seen Star Wars yet.
But no,
you get out.
If this,
everybody out.
I know they've kind of changed the way they do some of the awards, and a lot of people say, awards don't matter. If you liked it, you liked it. This really does deserve some recognition because this. Is it Alejandro the director. I'm sure I'm mispronouncing his name. He
good.
hasn't really done. He's amazing. And if he keeps making films like this, then I'll keep seeing him.
Yeah, and you're right. Birdman was really, really well done too, man. So
yeah.
It's called The Revenant. It's still in theaters, and if you get a chance, definitely check it out. Laura, Jamie, thank you guys so much for being on the show. Appreciate you guys. We'll be back next Saturday for another full hour of the Screen Team right here on Today's Talk 930 KWOC.